Call the meeting to order for the Finance Committee for February 16, 2022. And see, we have no public comment to be offered. We have 4 items on the approval schedule, and the first is for the minutes of our January 19th meeting. And I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
Oh, and let me interrupt here, Commissioner. I failed to mention that Commissioner Stevens is not able to meet with us today due to some work demands, and what I will do is appoint Chairman Turnipseed to fill the 3rd seat so we can conduct business. And so, Chairman, if you'll accept that temporary appointment for our meeting today. And then, so we do have a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
And second, any comments, questions, or additions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, show of hands. Thank you. 3-0. Item 2 is a budget adjustment for Project 702. And Mr. Burrows?
Yes, sir. Project 702 and Project 703 were funded from SPLOST 2016 revenues. 702 is a multi-phase project that we have completed 2 of the 3 phases and are nearing completion on the 3rd phase. The current work that is ongoing is punch list items on some downstream pump station improvements and the rerouting of a forced main down Harry Driggers and Canal Road along to a gravity sewer connection on Ogden Drive. Project 703 was the pump station 4003 upgrades and gravity bottleneck elimination. That project has been completed. The one that was in the city of Brunswick has been completed. Originally allocated for Project 703 was $3.3 million. We came in on final project expenses there at $2.29 million. A lot of more numbers there, but in general, $2.29 million. So there's $1.01 million left unspent in that project budget. That the request here is to reallocate that money to the other SPLOST project that was doing the 4110 force main reroute. That project is over the intended SPLOST budget for it, and then we were planning to cover the overages with our own reserve funds, but this will lessen the necessary reserve funds for to be used, and it will allow us to fully expend all those SPLOST funds. So afterwards, the new the overage will be $617,000 that will still be paid out of JWSC SPLOST funds, but the request is to reallocate $1.01 million from 703 to 702 now that 703 has been completed.
Okay, the Chair will entertain a motion.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the Finance Committee recommend the full Commission approve the reallocation of remaining SPLOST 2016 funds from Project 703 in the amount of $1,010,159.18 to project number 702.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions, comments? I'll offer one, and just in summary, both these projects were originally scoped and funded with SPLOST 2016 funds, and because we finished one of the projects $1 million under plan, we're simply moving those dollars from that project to another, and so it's the same vintage of SPLOST money. So with that, if there are no other comments or questions, then I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please. And that carries 3-0, and we recommend that to the full Commission for approval tomorrow. Thank you. Then item 3.
Excuse me. Yes, sir. This is a final adjusting change order for the pump station 4116, which is a public safety complex pump station upgrade. This was actually funded by Glynn County. We paid for it, and then they reimbursed us for this. There was some bypass pumping money that was not spent on the project, so the final change order is actually a deduction of $15,750 from the contract. So the request here is to approve the change order with the deducted amount, adjusted final contract amount, and then once final payment has been made, this will free up those budgeted funds to go back into the uncommitted project reserve.
Okay. We heard this at the Facilities Committee earlier. So the chair will recognize a motion.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission Finance Committee forward the above-described change order number 2 to the full commission for approval.
Second.
Okay, any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, show of hands. Passes 3-0, thank you. Then we have final approval item number 4. Andrew?
Yes, sir. This is it's labeled the Bergen Woods Offsite Improvement Project. This is actually the force main from the pump station we just talked about that needed to be increased. This was funded by capital improvement fees collected in the area. And this is a final adjusting change order to balance out the contract. There were some extra work items in this contract and that were not used. We have those line items for as needed work as they occur out in the field due to unforeseen conditions. So the deduction here is $24,911, and then we will, upon, again, payment of the final pay app on this, any of those uncommitted budgeted funds would be returned to the uncommitted project reserve for capital improvement funds.
Okay, chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission Finance Committee forward the above-described change order number 1 to the full commission for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additions, comments, or questions?
I will say one thing just to note, we had 2 different contractors working on essentially the same project. One was doing the force main, one was doing the pump station. And then the fact that they both got finished at the same time is pretty remarkable.
It is.
It's a good project, good execution, and while we had negotiated early in the project for extra work to set the pricing, as it turned out, we did not have to invoke that extra work, so that's a good project. So with that, I'll call for a vote. Those in favor, show of hands, please. It passes 3-0. Thank you. And then we have the discussion item, which is the financial statement for the month end. And Francis, take it away for us, please.
No, I'm going to hand it to you. I'm stunned.
Take your time, Bill. It's fine.
napping.
It's fine.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We have the financial statements as of January the 31st, 2022. I have tried to highlight my talking points, and I'll try to stay on task with those highlights to make it a little easier to follow. First, on the balance sheet, under current assets, we have cash and cash equivalents. I just wanted to note that that $5.3 million does take into consideration that we received a $1.1 million, $1.8 million loan draw request from Jeep on January the 28th. So that kicked that up into that higher number. Down to restricted cash accounts. There is a difference from our June 30th numbers to our January numbers, and that is reflected in our $2 million ARPA funding that we received in December. That includes the $1.1 million R&R transfer at year end, our $300,000 year-end group insurance transfer in current year. I just wanted to give a little explanation of why that number has increased in 6 months, 7 months. At the bottom, for long-term debt, we have our long-term portion of GICA loans payable. We have recorded over $6.5 million in the loans payable for our CW draw, which is our clean water project, and a little over $5 million on our drinking water project. That makes it that $9.8 million. Page 2. At the bottom, we have restricted, legal, and elective. A heading there. There was a change in the description that I wanted to note. Previously, the description was reading restricted for capital projects, and it said R&R, capital, and reserve. But part of that is operating and group insurance, and those 2 line items, those 2 groupings are not for project expenses.
Understood.
Changing our wording
Okay.
there, just for a little clarification on that.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on the balance sheet?
All good?
Page 3, is our summary revenues. We are operating at a net revenue of a little over 1.1 million. Part of that, no, not part of that, well, I will go back up. I would like to note under other income for that, the total, we are over budget by 383,000. Portion of that is rental income, currently $44,200, which is the former CVS rental that was not budgeted at the time. We had a non-budgeted item also under the GFA loan forgiveness as of January the 31st, that was a little over $260,000. Again, that was not a budgeted item. And as we get those loan forgiveness amounts, they have to be reported as revenue. And we also have $43,000 that's under other revenues, and that is the safety complex. So as Mr. Rhodes mentioned earlier, we are paying for those pay apps, the expenses, and then submitting those to the county. Our billing software will not allow a project in that, so we're billing them under other revenues, and as those funds come in, we're doing an increase from other revenues. So we're still waiting on the last pay app, and, well, actually, I guess that's already in. So it's one final pay app and the retainage in that portion. So that will be reduced.
Okay, and just a summary on it is basically we're executing a little bit above revenues in terms of budget, and our execution for expenses is slightly below budget. So all in all, my view is we're closing in on the glide path to for our year end in a few more months.
I will say, not that this should be surprising anybody that's been driving around the community for the last 7 months, but our water usage is back to pre-pandemic levels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had took a hit with the tourism being shut down for a while, but we're back where we were pre-pandemic.
Yep. Good to see.
Under capital fees and ARPA, just to note that at 7 months, our capital improvement fees are a little over $1 million, and of course, we know there are $2 million ARPA funds. Any questions on revenue? Okay. Page 4 for expenses. And again, just as you mentioned, our operating expenses with our $1.3 million encumbrances were just a little above our budgeted amount for this time year, or estimated budget. And we did get a vehicle in this past month. So
Only one of them. Got notified our other ones hadn't even been manufactured yet. So we don't know if we're gonna get those in this fiscal year or not.
Right. It was a 40-week?
48-week lead time.
48? Wow.
Is it the chassis manufacturer or
This was just from the dealership we ordered it from. You know, prevailing rumor is the chips, they can't get them.
Oh, okay.
And the one that we did get in was from Bristol, Tennessee.
If the chip issue, chances are the unit's already manufactured, is sitting on a lot, right, waiting for the final parts.
Any questions on expenses? Moving on to our supplemental statement of cash balances. Again, under the elected reserves there, that is broken out, operating capital, R&R, and revenue. For page 6, which is part 2 of our.
Could I ask a question on page 5? I know that we're investing the money, the cash, right? Do we have any figures about how much interest we're actually earning from that?
I can get those to you, I can give you those in our next meeting.
Okay,
I
yep.
haven't been on a good trend. It was a negative number for the month of January.
Right.
On our investments.
Yeah,
After
January
that.
wasn't good on the investment side.
No, okay. Yeah, I was just wondering. I mean, I know it's the logical thing to do, but I was just wondering what the results were
It
like.
didn't make me feel any better, but at least it did the same thing mine did, so.
Okay.
Do you want it just for this current fiscal year, through February?
Yeah,
then
don't go, just,
Back to the beginning?
right.
Yeah, I can do that. Page 6, are bond trustee reserves. The 2021 series cost of insurance fund was closed in January. That $10,181.62 was moved to our debt service reserve. So again, that now explanation is current construction fund and debt service fund. And again, I just wanted to note on the capital improvement fee reserves, even though that balance is 8.5, we do have over 4.7 million encumbered for existing projects. So, see that number drop. Any questions on our cash balances? Moving on to our project report. Current year expenses for projects were at almost 14.4. The total cost of ongoing projects were almost at 35.6 million. Let's see. Well, I do have an explanation here for the ARCO. The 2016 project is showing 3.7 to the negative. There was that portion is just for the engineering. The construction was supposed to be under 2101, and that PO got coded to the wrong number. That has since been corrected, and those funds moved down correctly. And as mentioned earlier with the public safety complex, we're billed, that's going into other revenue, and then we're moving that. So that project fund currently has 51,000, so that will be reduced down. Okay, we'll get that closed out. I think there are 3 projects possibly, the roads that should be finalized in the month of February.
Yes. 4.
Great. Page 8 at the bottom, again, there's that GFO project number. Just an explanation that the expenses won't match the short-term and long-term amounts due to timing differences of the draw. These are actual expenses incurred throughout the project. And the loan draw, we pay the expenses, then we process them. They have to go through their whole process, so it takes a little bit of time. Also, some of these funds, expenses were SPOS funding and of course retainage. So just to note that those 2 numbers won't always match, or they won't match. Any questions?
I want to just say thank you for the notes. It's like peeking in on your journal entries, and it's wonderful. No, it really is very helpful that way because, there's obviously very organized, and it's very useful to see this on paper like that. So.
I wanted to highlight it was Mrs. Roberts.
Well, it's
There's
very
in
helpful.
the notes.
Yeah,
That was her
yeah,
suggestion.
yeah.
Any questions?
It's like peanut butter and jelly together.
Very good report, thank you. Only comment I have, and I'll offer it in the full commission meeting tomorrow, is out of a $67 million project activity. This fiscal year to date, we have invested, round numbers, $35.5 million. So we've had a very robust construction program this fiscal year, and we have a number of months to go yet. So thank you very much for the update.
Thank you for the report.
That is the last item for us on the schedule. Any comments, additions, questions, anything? Okay, with that, we'll be adjourned. Thank you.